Okay, hello everyone. It's 3:05 p.m. here Philippine time, so we could start. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to SkillsQuest Communicating Your Research Day 2. So we designed this event to help our mentees and also other high school students and students from Philippine schools to be able to develop their skills in science communication. And in particular, today we will be focusing on developing their elevator pitch and also um, focusing on an introduction to science communication. So for our first speaker for today, we have Sir Jonas. Yeah, so we have our very own mentor and executive advisor in SIDHI, Sir Jonas. So aside from his duties here in SIDHI, he is also a 2022 Island Innovation Ambassador, 2022 European Climate Pact Ambassador for the Philippines, and member of the Learn to Lead team at Sustainable PH. His career here in the Philippines, he acts as a corporate and environmental sustainability practitioner. He is a registered chemist and a climate reality leader. And he is also a consultant under the industry solutions consulting sector for Nomura Research Institute Singapore here in Manila. So he graduated with a degree in BS Chemistry at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños in 2015. And he took up his Master of Sciences in Renewable Energy and Resource Management at the University of South Wales in the UK in 2017. So unfortunately, Sir Jonas has schedule conflicts for today. So we will be watching a recorded version of his talk. And his talk is titled Using a Back to Basics Approach Type and Presenting Your Pitches. So let's start.
Hello everyone. My name is Jonas. I'm a mentor and one of the mentors and the member of the advisory board at SIDHI. And unfortunately, I could not join you this afternoon due to an emergency pressing matter. But I'll be happy to walk you through my presentation this afternoon on using what I'd like to call a back to basics approach in presenting your pitches. So we're going to look into three sections for this afternoon. And yeah, these are the three sections right there shown on the screen. First of all, we're going to explore a bit about Richard Feynman and understanding science. And then I have a proposed approach called SCATE, followed by the final note that I'd like to share with all of you. So let's begin with the scientist Richard Feynman, born 1918, died in 1988 due to cancer. But he's most famous in quantum physics and quantum chemistry and trying to understand some of the concepts that lead to the modern definition of the atom, and also the ones that revolutionize science today. But he was also someone who is an innovating genius when it comes to approaches to learning. And if you look into that quote that's on your screen right now, even he had difficulty in trying to understand the concepts that he was trying to teach at a level that was more comfortable to a younger audience or ones that are not really used to the jargons of science. And this brings out a very important point in all of us when we talk about our conversations. Our conversations when it comes to our pitches or trying to present something, it will definitely hit some snags. It will definitely hit a lot of challenges to people that are not in your immediate circle or to those that don't even understand what you're doing. And this is very, very important because getting the message across is very important nowadays. It has resulted into much successes, but has also led to more challenges. Because even if you've been effective in your messaging in the past, it may not reach the target audience or the intended audience that you would have. So, you know, if you really want to get people to grasp the ideas of your pitch, you should really know your own content, first of all. And because you know that content, you should be able to stress the important details. And because you already know the important details, you need to engage the audience. And this is something that we'll be looking into my proposed approach when it comes to doing these pitches. And I summarize this through the acronym SCATE. STATE stands for simplify content, you know your audience, you achieve a practical delivery, you should be able to time yourself, and you should be able to enter a call to action. When you say simplifying your content, what I want you to grasp is that even if you presented something on your PowerPoint or presented in a virtual poster or an actual poster, your study or whatever you want to present to a wider audience should be understandable even if you're not there. Because it's not all the time that you'll be called up to explain things on something that you did. Because, of course, everyone was going to get a copy of what you have, even if it's in abstract form. And if they become interested in your work, it would be very, very difficult if you're not there all the time. So you have to have your content digestible by everyone as much as possible, even if you're not there to answer their questions. And because of that, you should be able to use a certain language that can reach a wider audience. And by wider audience, meaning who do you want to talk to, basically. And if you're going to talk to a wider audience, let's say if you want to improve something for farmers, if you want to improve something for hotels and restaurants or food manufacturers, if you want to, if your language or if the way that you speak would not be the same level of proficiency compared to the people that are around you, then you've already failed to reach out to them and the whole project will fail. So simplifying content also means to avoid too much of the scientific jargon as much as possible and go for more common scientific approaches. And because you're trying to reach out to an audience, you also need to know, your audience itself. And knowing that audience should be beneficial for you because you already would know how to adjust your content so that it would be suitable for their level of understanding. Because of course, if you have your own level of understanding and they have their level of understanding, there's going to be miscommunication. And if you want them to see what you see, then knowing your audience will definitely be good for you so that they could reach your points of view faster and they could also comprehend what you're trying to say. And because they've already comprehended what you're trying to say, you would, as much as possible, be able to avoid certain misconceptions due to misunderstanding or perhaps a disconnect in your communications. And for you to be effective in your messaging, you have to be practical also in your delivery. What I mean here is that if you want to really stress out or call out the important points, you really need to find a way to call out those points. You need to strike the message faster and better in a way that they would understand you both in text and in presenting. So how do you want to do that? You could, in text, you can do italicizing or underlining or putting in bold letters. In real life, in trying to explain things, of course, you could use the benefit of having these important things, just stressing the important points by increasing the tone of your voice or increasing the volume of your voice. There's also trying to be more staccato, if you will, if you really want to stress your important points. So like one example that I did previously was that I asked an audience, how many indicators does NEDA check or monitor for the UN Sustainable Development Goals? And they were guessing around, and I told them eventually that the number is 155. And then I just stopped because I wanted to really focus on the number 155 and for them to digest that number. So this brings out basically those things that you want them to think better, or to get them to grasp the key messages of what you want to pitch. Now, pitches. Pitches have time, and by time meaning time constraints. So you need to time yourself, and by timing yourself, you could pace yourself in presenting your deck or your poster or whatever medium that you want to do. And you don't have the benefit of time. Everybody will have a chance to present their paper as well, but as well as you would have yourself presenting. So by timing yourself, you need to think about the proper pace, the way that you're going, the times that you would know when to emphasize your key points, and it also avoids the nervousness in trying to deliver your message. And the common thing that even I am prone to doing include keeping away. I mean, to keep away from oohs and ahs and ums. Those are common mistakes. I do them myself. I mean, probably this whole presentation, you probably heard me say oohs, ahs, and ums. But with more practice, the degree of nervousness would go away, and the level of confidence in your delivery and in time management would be better for you. Now, calling to action is presenting your recommendations. You tell the wider audience what is needed in your related studies, and if you feel like you want more assistance to get this study, have achieve better recommendations, then it's where you put it in, and this is where um, you basically hone out, what you have in mind at the very, very, very end. And yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as, hey, you want to follow this experiment as we continue further, great, to, trying to achieve more confidence. It's really just up to you. So we've already looked into Richard Feynman and understanding science. I've already presented you with SCAPE. And then I just want to share a final note of consideration coming from Feynman himself. So this was from his blackboard in 1988 on the day just before he died. And I want you to think about the words that he wrote on this blackboard. What I cannot create, I do not understand, and know how to solve every problem that has been solved. With those two in mind, what I'd like to give out a point is that if you cannot understand your presentation, then they cannot understand you either. So in order for you to send out the clear message that you want to um, share to the world, you should be able to understand it yourself. You should be able to share it to other people yourself. You need to teach it basically to the people that would want to have this message of yours come across. And with that, if I understand you would have more questions on this matter, and I understand that my fellow mentors will be doing a session later to better hone your skills. But if you have any questions to me, please refer to the contact details on this slide, and I'll be very happy to respond to you as soon as you can. And with that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of SIDHI Skills Quest. Apologies to that. And I hand you over back to the organizers. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you in future events real soon. Salamat.
Okay. I hope you learned a lot from that talk. And thankfully, Sir Jonas is back from his appointment. So we have time to take some questions, some initial questions before we move on to our next lecture. So if you have any questions, you could unmute yourself and ask Sir Jonas. Alternatively, you could type your question in the chat box and we'll be taking your questions. Okay, so we already have one question in the chat. Sir Jonas? Yes.
Hello. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Sir Jonas, do you hear us?
Hello? Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Isabel?
Yes. So we have one question in the chat from Jason. He asks, in the end of the pitch, would it be nice to give your business or calling card?
If you're okay, I'll be happy to respond to that question. And I do apologize; it's kind of noisy where I am. But I'll do my best to be as audible as possible. Okay, that is a very interesting point that you have there because, of course, as we're emerging from the pandemic, it's not necessary anymore to have your business card. But to answer the question, if you do plan to get your business card out, you have to do it not at the end of the pitch, but the end of the whole session, because it would be one, it would be impolite or it would be a bit rude, to the other presenters that follow your pitch to do so, and two, because they also have to listen to the other pitches. They have to give the courtesy for them to do the pitches and complete the whole thing, the whole session before you give out the business card. It's a good thing to have one. I had an event actually last Wednesday that for the first time during the whole since the pandemic hit, I gave out business cards and it was a very fun feel. But it's like right at the end of the pitch, don't do it. Do it at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you, Jason, for the great question. Does anyone else have any questions for Sir Jonas? Okay, we have another question from Ate Florence. Is it impolite to ask for their business card or contact info instead for networking? Or is that better to do during the networking sessions of the event?
Okay. It depends on what purpose of you reaching out. I mean, if it's for the purpose of pure networking, then you do it at the networking session. But if you really are interested in the study that they're giving out, like like you're so amazed about the talk that they gave, or you can definitely relate to the researches that they've achieved and shared during the session, then yeah, you can go out and ask for their card. But if it's just, hey, I just want to connect with you on LinkedIn, or I just want to connect you on a follow-up email, then there's where courtesy comes in and say and kind of you might want to stop yourself there for a while. You could have and you really want that first contact details, then you can mention to that person, hey, I had fun in my session. I want to work with you in the future. Can I have your card? That's okay. But only during the networking session and not immediately after the talk. If that's the case, if the purpose is just networking.
Okay, thank you so much, Ate Florin, for the question. Does anyone else have anything to ask, Sir Jonas?
Oh, Isabel, baka hindi ako naintindihan ng presentation.
Sir Jonas, there's a lot of background noise actually, but we do hear your answer. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Okay, so if nobody else has any more questions, we'll be flashing the contact details of Sir Jonas. And if you would want to reach out to him, you could feel free to screenshot this slide. So again, thank you so much, Sir Jonas, for the informative talk. It was a pleasure listening to it, and I'm sure our participants learned a lot from you, even with the short time that we have.